Today I'm reviewing the Fungal Pharmacy, the complete guide to medicinal mushrooms and lichens of North America. I read this whole book cover to cover. I sure did. But I'll explain a little later what I mean. Now, this book was published in 2011, so forgive me if I mispronounce this word. I don't know if there is a known proper way, but as far as I'm concerned, it can be fungi, fungi, or fungi. Let me know in the comments how you pronounce it. I may not be consistent with my pronunciations either, so hopefully this isn't irritating for you. And for that matter, I may be mispronouncing a lot of the mushroom names, so I hope you will forgive me. Feel free to correct me in the comments, though. I'm always willing to learn. The author, Robert Rogers, is a Canadian, so he has a Canadian slant, which is great, I think, since I'm from Canada too. Anyway, he gives some interesting stats in the introduction, such as the number of species in the fungi kingdom is estimated at 1.4 million. Only 80,000 have been named, and of the 14,000 well-known species, only about 50% are considered to be edible to any degree. About 2,000 are safe edibles, with more than 700 species possessing significant pharmacological properties. Keep in mind these stats are from 2011 or thereabouts, so who knows what it might be right now. Mushrooms are a treat worldwide, and in ancient times, one Roman author said, "It is easy to refuse gold and silver or even attractive ladies, but to refuse mushrooms is difficult." British Columbia leads the export of mushroom harvests in Canada, with the most of the product going to Japan, Europe, and the United States. Mushrooms can be cultivated on waste products, such as sunflower seed hulls. So when one considers that they can be produced on waste materials, converting products of little or no market value into food for an overpopulated world, then there is no doubt that mushrooms represent one of the world's greatest untapped resources of nutritious and palatable food for the future. So says Dr. Chang, who is the director of a research center in Hong Kong. So these fungal species that have therapeutic properties include antioxidants, hypotensives, hypocholesterolemics, liver protectants, antifibrotics, anti-inflammatory, anti-diabetic, antiviral, and antimicrobial, and they can be used as an immunosuppressant used in organ transplants and as adjuncts to cancer, chemotherapy, and radiation. He goes into a lot of scientific detail to back this up. I found this to be a very interesting read. The first mushroom he delves into is the agaricus, which, in case you don't know, is part of the common button mushroom Cremini and portobello family. It's 15 pages long, and all I can say is, wow, I had no idea this common store-bought mushroom was so healthy. The next mushroom that I can say wow about is the puffball. And here is the author holding a puffball. I honestly didn't have a clue what a valuable find this common mushroom is, and it is used the world over. I don't believe I have ever tasted it, but I sure will be consuming it from now on whenever I find one. So he really does a good job with all his colored photographs for each mushroom. Well, for each section, here's the chanterelle. He gives the scientific name, or the Latin name, and then the common name. And cultivation, traditional uses, medicinal use. And so this is where my eyes glazed over sometimes when reading, because unless you're a chemist, really, like vitamin A and D2, sibaric acid, and 10-hydroxy-8-D-cenoic acid, 2 fatty acids. Anyway, yeah, so I kind of skimmed over this part of the mushroom section, but I did read it from cover to cover. He likes to do like essential oil and medicinal use and mycoremediation and just various fun stuff that he gleans on each mushroom. But yeah, the pictures are great in here. His part 1 was mushrooms and his part 2 is the lichens. This was absolutely eye-opening for me and so fascinating. I did not know you could eat lichens. Well, maybe I heard you could eat the old man's beard if you were starving in the woods. But there are so many more lichens that are valuable, and you can make dyes with them and so much more. So I just want to read you about the author now. Robert Dale Rogers has been a student of native plants and fungi from the Canadian prairies for more than 40 years. He is a retired clinical herbalist, amateur mycologist, and professional member of the American Herbalist Guild. Robert is the author of 7 volumes of native and cultivated plants called Sundew, Moonwort, Medicinal Plants of the Prairies. He has written Rogers Herbal Manual, which accompanies a 7-volume video series with Moores Kochanski on edible and medicinal plants of the boreal forest. Robert co-authored Herbal Drug Interactions, a publication of Capital Health and the Royal Alexandra Hospital. Robert teaches plant medicine at Grant MacEwan University and the Northern Star College of Mystical Studies in Edmonton. He is a consultant to the herbal, mycological, and nutraceutical industries and is currently Vice President of the Alberta Mycological Society, Chair of the Medicinal Mushroom Committee of the North American Mycological Association, and on the editorial board of the International Journal of Medicinal Mushrooms. He lives in Edmonton, Canada with his beautiful wife, Lori. You may contact him directly at sense@tellusplanet.net. You can also check out their website, Sense of Wonder, and selfhealdistributing.com. So my final thoughts. I honestly am quite blown away at the in-depth research this author did. It was very scientific, and he tells of how the mushroom is used the world over, and I like how he includes how the Aboriginals used or use it. However, he definitely has a New Age slant to his surmisings, and so I didn't get into that very much. I'm not into mystical mushroom stuff. I just love mushrooms and love to know how healthy they are for you. One of my watchers suggested I rate the books I read, so for this one I would give it a 4 out of 5. It's a wealth of information if you care about what ailments mushrooms might be good for, but I dinged it because of the unnecessary New Agey slant. But I surely do appreciate his research and thoughtfulness that went into this book.